attention, and to discuss it with us, Richard Lenton, who's Associate Editor of Golf Punt magazine. You may have seen Phil Babb, who is the owner of said magazine, with us, the former Liverpool player. But Richard, good to see you this morning. Neil Collins from London Night, regular guest. What do we think? Ryder Cup, Europe, 3 points down, worst position since 1979 after the opening day.
And the greatest madness of all is Faldo this morning deciding not to play Westwood or Garcia on a day when we desperately need points. Two of our best operators that lose the least of any player we've got. And from my perspective, to drop Westwood after two halves is ridiculous.
Nick Faldo would say, I imagine, Westwood has had tonsillitis. Garcia was not Garcia yesterday.
Yeah. He's on a harding to nothing now, Faldo. The thing is, it's the foursomes this morning. And what you want to do in foursomes, you want to play par golf. You want to play a lot steadier than you do with the four balls. And the problem that he's got is Garcia's body language over the last 9 yesterday wasn't great. He wasn't hitting the fairways like he should. I thought that Garcia, Westwood, Casey and Harrington would be the four who played all 5 games, but he's maybe thinking, I'll give Sergio a little rest here, and poor old Paul Casey just can't hit a fairway. And
it was Miguel Angel Jimenez in that pairing who hold a couple of crucial putts to keep them in contention at all. It wasn't Garcia. He just wasn't. I mean, on form, looking at it in isolation, you can understand the decision. It's a question of whether you make a decision on what he's seen on the course yesterday or what he knows and what they can do overall.
It's not just on form, is it? I mean, we're looking at two of our best players being left out today. Oliver Wilson coming in for his first game fresh, and maybe he should have given him a go yesterday afternoon. We're just building up to a situation, and because Faldo is the character he is, building up to a situation where we'll knock Faldo down quite quickly if this all goes wrong again this morning and this afternoon.
I mean, Chris, you were saying earlier on, you can almost hear the knives being sharpened in what was Fleet Street.
He sets himself up a little bit, I think, Faldo, in many ways. Although I personally thought that the crying press conference, Faldo absolutely walked it and took Azinger apart in terms of passion. And I started to like Faldo again.
And Azinger was just being very monosyllabic, wasn't he? He was coming out with all the cliches, and Faldo actually showed the emotion. And people forget quite quickly that when he won the 1992 Open, he was in floods of tears on the green after nearly throwing it away and then beating John Cook.
Which was the one where he said to Azinger, sorry about that, old boy?
1987, because Azinger was ahead with 2 holes to play, bogeyed the last 2 holes, and Faldo played 18 holes in par, as is his wont, and then said, bad luck, old chap.
What was he meant to say?
But you can put your arm round somebody and say, listen, you know, you'll get me next time, mate, or take the mickey.
But that wasn't...
What do we think about this thing where the US are cheering us when we miss, and Azinger's encouraging them to boo when we miss?
There's no love lost, is there, Neil? Absolutely no love lost between Azinger and Faldo, and this doesn't just go back to the 87. In the 1993 Ryder Cup they played each other, there was a lot of animosity there, and of course Azinger was diagnosed with cancer very soon after that. And looking back on that, he said, look, Nick can't even beat me when I've got cancer, you know. There's no love lost. You heard the interview earlier on this year.
Tell me I'm talking nonsense, as I so often am, but I thought the American crowds were slightly less unfair, slightly more appreciative of decent European golf than in previous occasions on American soil.
Because there was less decent European golf than we used to.
And you can afford to be generous when you're winning.
That's a very good point. If we were on top, I think you'd be hearing more of the kind of unusual shouts. And of course then you've got Boo Weekly playing and they're going boo all the time and you get a bit confused.
Let's have a look at some of the action from yesterday, because Phil Mickelson and Anthony Kim, which was an interesting pairing that not everybody has seen coming by any means, were outstanding for America.
Absolutely. Well, Mickelson is very excited about being the talismanic figure for the Americans this year.
With no Tiger.
He's delighted that Tiger's not there, and he likes to be looked up to by the rest of the players. I thought he did a fantastic job with Anthony Kim yesterday.
That might be the story, might it, that Mickelson's come into the #1 role. Without Tiger there, he seems to be more relaxed and more settled, because at times he used to let them down, Mickelson, I felt.
And Hunter Mahan, everyone said the Americans have got 6 rookies and what a problem that's going to be. Mahan and Justin Leonard were terrific all day.
Leonard hadn't won a Ryder Cup game before this year. And Hunter Mahan, of course, was the guy who said a few weeks ago, Ryder Cup is slave labour. He didn't exactly sound exude at the prospect of competing. That has been a massive bonus.
The only people who got a whole point for us yesterday were 2 of our rookies as well.
Yeah, you're right.
So it did justify Faldo's picking of Poulter as well.
Poulter's not a rookie, but Justin Rose was
I was worried about Poulter yesterday morning, but I thought, you know, yesterday afternoon he kind of made up for that. He missed that putt in the morning. And you thought, blimey, look, you're the garish one. You're the one picked ahead of Clark. Can't make mistakes like that. He had a gimme putt that he missed.
So where does Faldo in the team talks that he'll be having last night and this morning, as it is in American time, where does he find inspiration from? How does he turn this round? Because there is some inspiration. It's not in the very last match last night. Westwood, who admittedly now is not playing, and Soren Hansen did fight back and did get an unlikely half.